My name is Kamira, and this is my review for Married at First Sight, Season 12, The Reunion, Part 2. Now, do I think we needed a Part 2? No. But we had one, and I am definitely here to review it, okay? So the scene pretty much picks up, or the episode, I'm sorry, pretty much picks up where it left off with them, with Chris, when his little backpack, somebody called him Adore the Explorer, storming off, going to the car about Pastor Dwight being there and, whatever. So we see Paige chasing behind him, trying to convince him to stay. She's like, you were doing so great. She's always trying to, I guess, take that marriage wife role seriously. But I'm just like, when is he going to be encouraging you? We're still waiting for that. That's not a rehearsed or scripted thing. But anyway, he says, he'll come back for Paige. Okay. And he does, why does he, it's like family, why does he get to talk? Oh, I'm sorry. They talked about Pastor Dwight without him being there when Chris came back. So you want him to kind of talk about him without him being there to kind of defend himself and just say what you wanted to say to seem like a tough guy. But okay, I was just like, okay, anyway. Kevin asked Chris when he came back in, what are your takeaways from this experience? He laughs. I didn't hear a joke, but he laughs. He says, she deserves better. She needs a redo. Ultimately, they're going to file for divorce. Yay! I should insert like the little kids cheering. Yay! Like, okay. Next. It was annoying to see him come back in. That whole, it could have been condensed to me, this whole episode. Anyway, now Paige gets her turn to just talk with Kevin one-on-one. Kevin asked Paige, how hard has this been? And during the episode, during the season, I'm sorry, just listening to what he was saying, I just was like, dang, she has to watch this. Like, she has to watch him say these things about her, and her just not even know, or just won't know till she sees it, and that sucks. Like, anyway, Paige says, it was traumatic, and she didn't think about things going south when she signed up for the show. She had, good intentions. She wanted good things to come from the show, and she was, devastated. She talks about her being manipulated, and it sounds good because you say you knew you were being manipulated, but you kind of were still doing it. So it sounds good. It talks about, her having insecurities. She says, I'm not weak-willed or desperate, and she didn't know what he was saying. Kevin says, people are looking at how great you are, and they discuss people online saying she was stupid and all of that for dealing with him. And Kevin says, we just think so highly of you, and we were kind of didn't understand why you were so enthralled by this man you knew for one day. But okay. She says, I was committed to this process. But the process was not committed to you. I'm sorry. Okay, let me hush. Anyway, she says it was a circus. Kevin says, you really did try to still support him, even today. Why? Her friend Nancy joins from the wedding. She was the more vocal friend. When they were discussing the whole trophy wife thing, she was very vocal and saying, no, Paige is a trophy wife. What do you mean? So Miss Nancy came in. She looked really pretty. She said she knew at the wedding there were going to be issues. But she tried to, not speak up because she didn't want to ruin Paige's day. And now she does wish she had been more vocal on that day because there were red flags on day one. She says they gave him too much grace, too much, leeway, honestly. Kevin says, well, he did apologize. Do you accept his apology? Was it genuine? She was like, no. It wasn't enough apologizing in the world he could do. And I agree with that because you have weeks. I think this show has gone on for 16 or 17 weeks of people forming their opinion about Paige, about you, and for you to just say, oh yeah, I'm sorry, it's not enough. It's a little bit too little too late in my opinion. But okay, she said, this is why Black mental health matters. And I completely agree with that, because not only is Paige gonna deal with the trauma, the backlash, Chris will also. We may not like him, but it would definitely be like heartbreaking if he ever like did anything to himself because of what people were saying about him. He's definitely not liked right now. But I don't wish anything bad for him, and I don't think people who like review their show will either. He just came off really nasty, so hopefully he'll find another way to kind of prove who he really is, if he really cares about that. But okay, anyway, Kevin says people often wondered where were her friends and family. I wondered that so much. Like, where were they? And apparently they were there, but they were not going to be so woo woo woo. This is God's plan for you, as Paige was. They were not going for it. So I do believe that she probably was talking to them about this situation, and she just did not take their advice. They probably were there, and she was just forgiving, accepting, graceful, poised, all that good stuff, as she should be, because they are definitely conscious of them being on camera. So I understand that. Nancy says, now if I catch him outside, it's a different story. And it kind of matches the energy that Chris was on for me, because he's telling Pastor Dwight, catch me outside, how about that? Nancy is saying, if I catch you outside, you don't want to see that, so how about that? So, and she matches his energy, which is what Paige should have done, in my opinion. Okay, this is just my little comment here, just a little bit of me. But anyway, Nancy says, Paige is not okay. She's not okay. She's gonna be on a journey of healing, and her next boyfriend or her next guy may have to help her heal from this experience. And I hope that whoever she does meet does give her grace and, kind of help her get over this. Some people say the only way to get over one is to, deal with somebody else. So I hope, that, and like I said earlier in a different review, I believe that somebody gonna find Paige and accept her and show her how she should have been treated by Chris. So I think she'll be with somebody very soon. Nancy also says that this show can kind of open up a much needed conversation, and I agree, because like I mentioned also about Brianna, it was really good to see somebody with a skin tone very similar to mine be loved on TV. We need to see that. It would have been great to see two dark-skinned women be loved how they should be. So it's definitely a conversation that needs to be had, because so many times, this is like my own personal thing, I'm sorry, but I see so many guys show off their women, and they're always light skinned, and it's like, dang, you don't really see a whole lot of Black dark-skinned women be loved right, be highlighted, be put on a pedestal. And most of the kids that I teach are dark-skinned, brown-skinned little girls, and it just makes me sad that like they may not see themselves elevated in that same way. So anyway, that's my little tangent. But okay, all right, in the next scene we see the remaining men. It's 4 out of 5. Of course, Chris is not there. They talk about how Chris may be the most hated man in Georgia. Now, I will say this too. I don't hate him. I don't think anybody hates him. They just don't like his actions on this show. It made him look really bad. But I also noticed that before this show aired, I think he was featured a lot for being homeless to success, something along those lines. He was on like different podcasts sharing his story. So he has to find a way to pivot from this situation, because it's not that great. But you know, the media training, I'm sure he needs to get him a publicist to find a way to like recover. I mean, I don't know how, but I'm not following him, so I won't see it, but I hope he does it. They get into, you know, them all having a friendship and how Ryan is the hype man, Eric is the mellow one, Jake is funny. They show a clip of Jake and somebody arguing. Oh, Haley. I'm sorry, I wrote an H, but Haley arguing. They clear up the whole girls' night thing, and he said she wasn't around much for film except for filming. And they show a clip of Eric and Virginia talking about how she drinks from Thursday to Sunday, and they discuss them growing together and compromising. Ryan says, you know, he can understand both perspectives. Okay, it sounds good. It's politically correct. They show a clip of Chris and Virginia having an exchange in front of like golf carts or whatever. You know, Eric says he did have a good time in Vegas. Kevin, how do you feel about how he was talking to Virginia? You know, he didn't like it. He tried to stay calm, and Ryan discussed how it's just sad to see on TV because he's a black man being aggressive, being upset, and to these women, basically. Not to mention that they were, you know, white women. They showed clips of Vincent being romantical, and it was cute. Okay, so people compare them a lot to Amani and Woody from last season, and people thought that Woody was like faking his personality, like he was like that until he, you know, got some or whatever, and he wasn't. That was just how he was. And I feel like, you know, same with Vincent, it's just how he may be. The stress of being on TV was a lot to deal with. So all right, you guys, in the next scene, I forgot to go back to Jake and Haley's scene. In my opinion, to be honest, they spent way too much time on Jake and Haley. We didn't need all of this. But let me go ahead and get into what happened in the scene with Jacob and Jacob. Girl, who is Jacob? Jacob and Haley. Okay. So we see Jacob and Haley together. This was their first time seeing each other since decision day, because apparently Jake had blocked Haley on all social media, the phone number, I'm assuming, as well. Jake said he was indifferent. He didn't care about seeing her. He didn't feel any way. He was just like, oh, that's Haley. And okay, and so what? Basically. They discussed, you know, life going back to normal. The show recaps their highs and lows. Definitely more lows than highs. I think the high may have been the wedding, and I don't have anything else, but okay. They both say, you know, they have the best intentions for each other, and they wanted to make this work. They both tried. Haley basically did not understand his humor. I can't say that I did either for the most part. You know, they kind of get back and forth. It was like, why are they dragging this out so long? Other couples had bigger issues than them. Jacob says she despised him. He tried. They both get into the whole thing about if they tried. It did kind of seem like Kevin was kind of going a little bit hard at Jake to see, like, did you really try? Were you really doing this? You know, like, honestly, it was unnecessary. I was like, I'm bored. Why are we watching this for so long? It was a good 20 minutes of the show, and I'm just like, we didn't need all of this. She didn't like him. He had to accept it. He couldn't accept it. He kept on bringing it up. She was just like, I'm trying, but not really trying. And he said, there could have been more romance. They could have got past the whole, you know, initial attraction issue, because people do it all the time. They reference Jamie and Doug and how they have kids now, best friends, and, you know, she was not initially attracted to him. They both wish each other well, you know, and have high hopes for the next other person. This scene was not needed. We could have left it all at decision day, in my opinion. Okay, all right, you guys, in the next scene. In the next scene, we see the experts. The experts are discussing the different couples. They say, we can't win them all. We got 3 out of 5. We're doing pretty good. And I want to say on last season, they got 3 out of 5 too, because Brett and Olivia didn't work out, and Henry and Christina didn't work out. So yeah, they got 3 out of 5 this season and 3 out of 5 last season. So you can't win them all. Okay. Pastor Cal says, he's happy with those 3 matches, and he says that this has been the most stressful season of Married at First Sight. And they get into, how they really liked Brianna and Vincent. They were definitely the favorite couple for this season. And their biggest regret was Paige and Chris. And, they discussed how they did like him initially. And, they said you can't really tell how they're going to act once they are selected, because they go through a pretty strenuous process, and they thought he was going to be legit. They actually did like him, and he turned out to be like not so great. They talked about, Brianna and Vincent, how they were open to advice, and they did think they would be a good match, but you could not predict their chemistry. They do seem like the best match on this show. Yeah. They discussed Haley and Jacob and how they hope the opposites would attract. I'm real curious because, what other couple did they do that were opposites that were successful? They talked about how with Eric and Virginia, they hoped that he could ground her in a sense, and that they could recover from their differences. Basically, when they go to the ballot box, he's voting for Trump and she voted for Biden. Okay? They discussed Ryan and Clara, how they hope they keep the communication going and, continue to try to be vulnerable with each other since they're not going to be cameras around. I mean, I hope they do too. I hope that is real, because I just hope it's real. They then discussed Paige and Chris. They discussed the face comment, and to me, it was a little bit overkill. But they showed the scene again, with Chris saying, all the white queens and black queens, and y'all brought me her. And, Pastor Kyle was trying to understand, well, what else is it? He just said her face. Your face. But he says, Pascal says, I tried to remain, professional, and Chris just was not ready for this process. And, the whole what I need versus what I want comment. You should be ready for what you need if you're really ready to be, serious, settle down, all that good stuff, Dr. Viviana says, there were several times that she wanted to pull Paige out of this, but Paige wanted to keep trying, and they were concerned that she kept wanting to try this thing with him. They were concerned about that. Dr. Pepper also wanted her out, but Paige had to want to be out as well. We all were like, why is she doing this? But I feel like, when Chris finally said he was done, she had no choice but to also be done. Let's be real. She would have stayed fighting back and forth with him, trying to convince him like, hey, no, I am pretty. I am these things. And, he wouldn't have valued that girl in a way she should be valued anyway. So, anyway, Pastor Cal has concerns. Why sign up for this show? They asked very specific questions. Are you open to this skin tone, that skin tone, this height, this weight? And he seemed open. He lied. Dr. Pepper says, he had no empathy, no really regard for Paige. And I agree with that. He didn't. Your whole blanketed apology is not gonna heal that girl wounds. They always say bricks, sticks, and stones can break my bones. Look, I am a teacher, but words could never hurt me. Such a lie. Words hurt. They stick with you. They stick with you more so than somebody punching you. Do not punch nobody. Teacher voice. But like, yeah, like words hurt. They discuss, she's not broken, she's hurt, and Paige, and she's strong. And they always, I saw this meme going around on social media talking about, I'm tired of the strong label. We want softness. We want care. We want other things than to just be labeled as strong. Like, it means you can just kind of take whatever and still be strong. No. We want to be loved properly. We want to be treated nice. Like, talk to me nice. Okay. But look, this is me going on a tangent again. In the next scene, we see everyone come together. They show Vincent's stripper scene. When he was all over the stripper, talking, with her the whole night. And I was looking at him sideways for that. I ain't gonna lie. In the back of my mind, I always thought about that scene. But, he was tipsy, I guess. And he was just like, can we move on from this? Because I'm not that person. I mean, when you get drunk, are you still that person, though? But, okay. They also show, Jake. He says, he laughs at everything that he sees on TV. Brianna says, as she's watching the season back, she's always, like, criticizing herself, criticizing what she said, what she wore. I guess that's like what people do. You're on TV, so it's natural. So Brianna talks about how when she's watching this show back, she is criticizing herself, what she said, how her hair was, what she wore, and Paige said that watching the show back is like re-traumatizing for her. And she's kind of like reliving that as she's watching it. And I feel for her. Like, it has to be tough. It has to be tough, for anybody to watch themselves go through something that's really like traumatic. And then you got not only your feelings about it, you have the world's feelings about it as well. That has to be tough, I'm sure. Clara discusses her mental health concerns about the comments that she has received. And yeah, they weren't so nice to Clara either. I don't know what I said besides I don't think he really liked her like that. And I still don't see it for them. But yeah. They get into the clip again of Chris and Virginia and Clara having that whole like, fake concern, argument. And to me, I feel like they keep replaying the scenes with Chris, and I'm just like, why? It's not needed. They show Eric telling Chris off, and he didn't really like people supporting Paige and not supporting him. How are they supposed to support you? One, they don't know you. Two, like, they are thinking logically, and like it sounds like she needs support, so I'm gonna support her. Eric says, I'm not gonna be on TV fighting. I do have my profession. Yeah, you have things to lose. You shouldn't be fighting on TV anyway. I know I wouldn't. Like, you have a profession that you could lose possibly because of a fight over nothing. Over a man being aggressive for no reason in that moment. They have the drinking discussion with Virginia and the guy friends thing. She tried to clear it up, but you said it. She said on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they go drinking, and she may spend the night on her guy friends' couches. She said it. She tried to make it seem like she wasn't saying she would do it in her marriage, but if y'all are on the show for Married at First Sight discussing this, why discuss it now if you would not do it now in your marriage? But anyway, they discussed, a whole little montage of Jake in the 80s. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but to be honest, I have no idea what was like popping in a sense in the 80s. I mean, I do, girl, I do love a good graphic t-shirt and fanny pack. I have one now. I have on a graphic t-shirt and I have a fanny pack in my purse. So, okay. Anyway, so I did not see this last season for the reunion, but they have past cast members ask questions to the new cast members. So Miles has a question for Paige. You know, how have you been taking care of yourself? Now, she says she's leaning on her friends and family, trying to find her purpose, and that she's also going to therapy. So, you know, I hope that Paige recovers from this unscathed. And I'll get into that a little bit more towards the end of my review. Deanna has a message for Virginia. You know, who would you choose between Eric and Rocky? And Virginia could not say Eric. Like, she was conflicted. She was like, well, Eric can take care of himself, Rocky can't. But then she was like, well, he's just a dog. But girl, you still could not definitively say Eric. So, okay. Shanice has a question for Clara. She says, have you all been a part of the Mile High Club? Because she's a flight attendant. She says no. And Ryan is not going for that. I mean, there are probably germs and stuff and it's nasty, whatever. But I'm sure if Clara wanted to, Ryan would be like, no. Woody had a question for Haley. You know, what did you learn? She says, you know, a lot. Yeah, I learned a lot. But girl, like what? Amani has a question for someone. For Eric. What was it like for someone who had been married before? Eric said, you know, it was hard either way because you're still learning. It's a new person, whatever. Christine, I like them too. I ain't gonna lie, I like all the black couples for sure that make it through. Christine had a question for Brianna. She says, does Vincent talk dirty to you in English or Spanish? Brianna says both, but she prefers the Spanish. Beth had a question for Jacob. She says, have you had Caucasian or basic Caucasian sex in your sauna? He was just like, no. The final words, you know, Paige says, it has been painful, but I'm not a victim. And, you know, she's trying to find ways to choose herself. Clara says, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And people were kind of offended by that online. I mean, I feel like as a teacher, you kind of tell your kids that also, like, you know, save your comments. But honestly, people on YouTube get paid to discuss these shows. I mean, I don't yet. But, you know, it's a thing to do. It's commentary. You know, no one hates you guys. No one wishes ill will on anybody. So it's just commentary. It's just your thoughts. You're sharing your thoughts on a show or about a person. I mean, it's a show on many different places, many different countries. So you're gonna get commentary. You're gonna like some, you're gonna not like some. It's a part of what you guys do. But anyway, they kind of give us a clip of the next season, which I would definitely be reviewing from the beginning. I reviewed this season from like episode 12, I think. I don't know. I started off super late. I would not do that next season. So they're gonna have 5 couples again, and I'm really wondering, is it gonna be 3 out of 5 like it was for last season and this season? Just wondering. And it seems like either they have one more episode of this season or like it's couples cam. And I saw Paige on there and I saw like Haley and Jacob. So I'm a little like, what's happening? Like, is that, I've never watched couples cam before. So I'm like, is that the format for couples cam? Is it like just people from like this season? I don't know. I'm gonna definitely be watching it, and I may also review it. I saw like Paige on a date with somebody, and like she looks lively and like happy and like free. Like, I think she's cute. So I hope she does find somebody, you know. We also see Brianna and Vincent in the previews looking for a house, and Ryan and Clara were pretty much getting settled in. We saw Haley and Jacob meeting to discuss, like, you know, I don't want to hate you, whatever. I don't know why they would be a part of it, but it seems like they are. So I will definitely be watching Couples Cam and Unmatchables. So all right, you guys, that was it for my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoy watching all these shows and talking about them, you know, sharing my little insights, my little commentary, my little personal, you know, connections to how I'm or why I'm feeling a certain way about certain things. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my commentary. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, like, comment, and subscribe, because right now, you all, my goal is to get to 100 subscribers. Okay, so, and if you guys yeah, just press subscribe. It'll definitely help me out and build up my confidence to keep doing this. I'm gonna keep doing it anyway, but just like, you know, a little confidence boost. When you get a new subscriber, you get a little comment, you get a little like. It helps. Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you, and thank you. And I will see you all on the next one. Bye.